Today I'm going to talk about the Assassin in Diablo 2, and what I will mainly talk about is the attributes we need, the material art skill tree, the skill tree for hybrid, and for Trapsin. I've also added a timeline, so you have the option to easily skip to the part that you're looking for. First, I'll start with material art. This you can also refer to as the Kixin. The skill tree that I like to use looks like this. I'll explain a bit more of why I choose each skill in a moment. You spend 20 points into Dragon Talon. This is going to be one of our main skills. Then you spend a point into Dragon Claw. This is to unlock Dragon Tail. And you spend 1 point into Dragon Tail to get Dragon Flight. The reason for this is because this move will allow us to teleport. This is a great way to travel with your mercenary. Once you have spent a point into Dragonflight, then we spend a point into Claw Mastery. We also spend a point into Physic Hammer, Burst of Speed, Weapon Block, Cloak of Shadows, Shadow Warrior, and Fade. And the reason why I spend one skill point into one of each is because it will allow us to unlock the skills at the bottom. And at the bottom of the Shadow Discipline, you can choose Venom. This adds a high amount of poison damage to your weapons. We need to max this out for increased damage. Right next to Venom, you can also choose to spend points into Shadow Master. This will summon a powerful shadow of yourself. But the thing about this skill is that it randomly chooses to cast spells. If you wish to have another clone that does something else, then I recommend you to spend 20 points into this. Shadow Warrior will summon a clone that mimics your skills. So let's say you have spent a lot of points into traps, then this Shadow Warrior can mimic your traps. Talking about traps, then we also have to spend skill points into the trap skill tree. First, I spend 1 point into Fire Blast. This we have to do to unlock Shockwave. Shockwave unlock Charge Bolt Sentry. This will unlock Lightning Sentry and Death Sentry. And Death Sentry I like to spend 20 points into. This will allow me to cast a trap, and this is a good way to do range damage. And like I mentioned earlier, if you wish to spend 20 points into Shadow Warrior, then it can mimic your traps. Next, you could spend a few points into Lightning Sentry to boost the damage of your trap. You could also spend some points into Lightning Sentry to boost the damage of your trap. Else you could also spend the remaining points into Fire Blast, or any other skill that you would like your character to get. Next up is the attributes I like to use for Kixin. You don't need to spend any points into energy at max level, because you will have mana potions and items that restore mana. Maybe you could spend a few points into energy while you level, but then at max level, when you try to min-max, you should definitely reset your attribute tree. Vitality I usually spend a lot of my points into, because you're going to be in melee range most of the time, so you don't want to get one shot. Dexterity wise, I also spend a decent amount of points into. This we need to spend points into to equip gear, but also to increase our block chance. Also make sure to spend some points into strength, because we need strength in order to equip our items. Next up is the hybrid spec. Usually I don't spend any points into material arts. You could spend a few points to unlock Dragonflight, as this is a finish move that will teleport to enemies. This could be good in situations where you like to PvP. In the Shadow Discipline skill tree, I spent 1 point into all skills beside Venom. Venom I'm going to max out for increased poison damage. This will do a lot of our damage. We also have 1 point into Shadow Master and Shadow Warrior. So we have the option to summon a clone of ourselves. And with plus all skillers, or Shadow Discipline skillers, we will increase the health and the damage of our clone. But where we mainly have to spend our points is in the trap tree. I spent 1 point into Fire Blast. This is to unlock Shockwave. Shockwave you spend 1 point into, and later on you will eventually spend more points into it. What we mainly have to max out is going to be Charge Bolt Sentry, Lightning Sentry, and Death Sentry, because all these 4 skills are going to synergy. So every time you put a point into something, you're going to benefit in the other skills. So make sure to try to max out all these 4 skills. The attributes you have to focus on is going to be strength, to make sure you can equip your items, so only spend the points that you need for your items. Then you put points into dexterity. This is also to make sure you can equip your items, but also dexterity increase your chance of blocking. And the remaining points has to be spent into vitality. So as you probably guessed, no points into energy. You have mana potions and items that will resupply you with enough mana. The last specialization is assassins who like to use traps. This is also known as Trapsin. First, we spend a point into Fire Blast, and this is to unlock Shockweb. All these 4 skills synergy, so it's important you max all of them out to increase the damage of your traps. So it's Shockweb, Charge Bolt Sentry, Lightning Sentry, and Death Sentry that you have to spend 20 skill points into. I also spent 1 point into Physic Hammer. This is to unlock Cloak of Shadow. This will blind nearby enemies, and it's a good way to avoid getting killed. The reason why I spent a point into Claw Mastery is because this skill is a passive. It increases your skill with claws, so it's an easy way to improve your damage. But by spending 1 point into Claw Mastery, you also unlock Weapon Block. So now you have a chance to block whenever you're using dual claws. I also spent a point into Burst of Speed. This you can activate to increase your attack and movement speed. A great way to get away from PvP situations or monsters. But it also increases your attack speed, and this affects your trap, because the faster attack speed, the faster you can also place your traps. By spending a point into Burst of Speed, you can now also spend a point into Fade. And when you activate this, you increase all your resistance and resistance to curse. So it's an amazing ability to activate before you engage into combat. And it's the same with Burst of Speed. Attribute wise, it's the exact same as the 2 other specializations. Enough strength to equip gear, and the same with dexterity. And the more dexterity, the higher chance you also have with blocking with your weapons. But you should not spend too many points into dexterity. The main reason was to equip your items. The remaining points into vitality, and once again, no points into energy. Alright, so that's about it. I hope you found this guide useful, and in case you would like to see other Diablo 2 Resurrected class guides, then make sure to check out my channel. As always, thank you for watching, and have an amazing day. Peace.